Hey, so today we are going to look at various teaching methods for us as Christian educators. And what are the various teaching methods? What are their purposes? How do we use them? What's their benefit to us as Christian educators? So that's what our goal is for today. So as we look at that, we say we want to identify, we want to evaluate, we want to develop effective teaching methods tailored to various learning contexts. Now this is important. Why tailored to various learning contexts? Because every learning context, every opportunity for you to teach is going to be different. You're going to be different in every teaching experience you have. The context is going to be a little different. You say, what if I teach in the same classroom week after week, day after day? The context is still different because it's a different time, different season, different things going on in the world, different things going on in the life of your students, maybe different students every week. So every time the context is different. So you want to be able to look at different and various teaching methods to be able to make those changes. But for us, we want to look at next, and it's really important, pedagogy versus andragogy. What are the differences and why are they important? Now, we're not going to dive too deep into this today, but we do want to look at this because it is important. So we asked the question, how would we adapt our teaching methods for children versus adult? So when we're teaching primarily children, we're noticing, and we need to notice this, we see this, they're primarily dependent learners. They're structure oriented. They need concrete, real world examples. They can't think abstractly yet, right? They are motivated more by external means than internal means. And andragogy is the teaching of adults. Why is it so different? Because adults are self-directed. Adults are experience-driven. They can pull from prior knowledge that they have. Relevancy-oriented, meaning can this information I'm using right now benefit me later on and even benefit me right now? That's going to be a huge impact to the internal motivation, because if an adult is internally motivated, then they're going to be more willing, and we all are too, right? More willing to step in and learn what is in front of them and what is ahead of them. So our first teaching method we're going to look at today is lecture. It's discussion, and it encourages active engagement among learners and promotes critical thinking and collaborative learning. What do we mean when we say teaching methods? What do we mean when we say teaching methods and we're talking about lecture? So we want a structured method of presenting content verbally to a group that usually focuses on one person speaking with little or no dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue, there's mainly monologue in a lecture, but even still, you can and should utilize a lecture to teach your students how to ask good questions. The strengths of lecture is efficient. It's efficient for delivering large amounts of information. It's really good for introducing new material. You'll see most of your introduction classes, if you think about your classes in college, most of your introduction classes to college are lecture-based. Why? Because you need a large amount of foundational information to be able to build off of, to push into, and to grow into that knowledge base. What are the weaknesses? It's passive for learners, limited engagement, and legitimately limited retention. It's best used for adults. An example would be teaching theological foundations in a Bible study class. You want to teach these, again, large foundations to be able to build other theological and biblical principles off of. Discussion. When we think about discussion, we think about discussion because it encourages active engagement among learners. It promotes critical thinking and collaborative learning. It's facilitated dialogue where learners share ideas, questions, and interpretations of what is being learned. Strengths: it encourages critical thinking, ownership of learning, and interpersonal interaction. Weaknesses: it requires prior knowledge and it can be dominated by a few participants. So one of the drawbacks of discussion is that you have to have a prior knowledge to be able to participate in discussion, because you can't jump in and have informed discussion without being informed. And the other weakness of discussion is that if you have one or two strong-willed people, or people that are very knowledgeable or high extroverts, they can dominate a conversation and keep others from learning and participating. You can use it with youth and adults, not so much children, but older youth do well. Small group discussion on Bible application is a good example of this. So drama and role play, they engage learners through active participation, enhancing understanding, enhancing retention. It's acting out scenarios or narratives to explain concepts or perspectives. Strengths: it encourages emotions and imaginations, promotes empathy and retention and memorization because it's making learning fun. Weaknesses, it may cause discomfort, it requires preparation and participation. So the strengths of this is that kids get to, it's best used for kids, right? Adults can do it, but it's really best used for children, and you can use it with adults, but I found children, the retention level and the participation level and the fun level just shoots through the roof because they can act out the Joshua tearing down the walls of Jericho. They can get their little trumpets and walk around the room and blast them, and everybody can be and play in different roles. And so it makes learning fun, it makes learning memorable. The weakness is it does require pretty significant preparation on your part as a teacher, and it also, people that don't want to participate in active, it's really hard to get them involved, and it's really hard to let them not seem like they're a cast out or a third wheel, if you will. And so those are some weaknesses to that. Think about games. Games foster active participation, enhance learning experiences by encouraging teamwork, critical thinking among students. So when we think about games, when we think about definition, interactive, often competitive activities that reinforce learning, but it doesn't have to be competitive. Think of, when you start out your kids' night or you start out your youth night, you're doing games. Why? Because you're getting them interested. You're pulling in those kids who may be on the fence and not really active yet. You're creating something new for people. It's fun. It's motivating. Often their games are not associated. They're not connected to or with the lesson, but they can be, and it takes a little more preparation on our part as teachers to do that, but it can be. So another negative is it can distract from content, and it's less effective for learning at a deeper level. It's more of a surface level stuff, getting you initially engaged into what is going on. Think of Bible trivia or memory verse games in children's ministry, or even some of our youth ministry. We've had Minute to Win It and crafted those Minute to Win It games according to our lessons that we're using. Storytelling. It captivates learners by conveying biblical truth and life lessons through engaging narratives, and it makes it effective for all ages. When you think about narrative teaching, you're teaching a Bible story, a Bible passage as you share that story, so you can craft that story and really draw in your audience. And one of the benefits of this is that you can craft it for each age group. You can go less detail, more concrete, more abstract, depending on your audience, and you can make it memorable, relatable, emotionally impactful. Weaknesses, it's less interactive unless combined with discussion. So you could tell a story and then add discussion on the backside of it to discuss the story of what was told. So that's a benefit of storytelling. Next, we'll look at case study. Case study allows students to engage with real-life scenarios. It fosters critical thinking and application of concepts. I'm a huge fan of case studies. I love case studies because you can craft them to any audience, even certain groups of kids. You can do little bitty scenario case studies, right? And you can craft them as detail-oriented you want, usually problem-solving, and present them to a group, to an entire class, to a segment, and they can get to work on that. And it's usually real-world problems they're dealing with to try to strengthen what they're doing. So we say case study is specifically an analysis of real or hypothetical situations to apply knowledge and evaluate outcomes. It develops critical thinking skills and decision making, but it is time consuming and requires guidance. And most of the case studies, you got to give specific instructions on what you're doing, why you're doing it, and where you're going. But what's also beneficial about case studies, you can present a case study and do the discussion and then actually have a follow-up discussion to the actual working of the case study. So it's pretty powerful that way. Brainstorming, you can actually combine brainstorming with discussion, brainstorming with case studies. It encourages creativity and collaboration among learners, fostering an environment where ideas can freely flow and develop. It's a group activity to generate a wide range of ideas on topics. So think giant post-it notes on the wall, breaking your people up into groups of 2 to 5, giving them a problem to solve, giving them traits of what's good traits of a good church leader, what's good traits of a follower of Christ, what's good traits of a disciple. So you can have those groups break up and brainstorm like that. It encourages creativity and collective input, but it also can lack structure and depth. Now it doesn't have to. Because you can, again, attach this method with another method such as discussion, so you can make your list, you can do your brainstorming, and then you can come back and discuss that. But just know, in general, brainstorming is usually just list creation. It's synthesis or analysis of something just on a surface level. So you need to add something with it to break it down. It's good with older children, youth, and even adults. Next, we'll look at art. Art in Christian education enhances creativity Engagement allows learners to express their faith visually and deeply. It's using visual media to express learning or reflection. Strengths, it supports creativity and personal expression. It may be seen as non-academic and is very subjective in interpretation. So if you're doing art, and it's best, really, I like it with children and youth, but I've even seen it used creatively with adults, right? But you're going to use art, and it's prep heavy with art, because art, you get supplies, you have preparation, you have cleanup, you have all that stuff, setup work, and then you have to be very intentional about your instructions to use that, because you do want to draw the learner in and not just stay at the surface level. Music, it enhances learning by engaging emotions, fostering connections, and encourages participation. Everybody can play musical chairs. Now, everybody may not want to play musical chairs, but everybody can play musical chairs. It incorporates singing, instrument playing, or musical interpretation in learning. It enhances memory, and honestly, it makes learning fun. Now, not everybody's going to say it makes learning fun, but it does, and it creates an emotional connection. So we have this emotional connection with the song, with the style of music, with something, and now we're connected to a biblical truth and a biblical lesson. Weaknesses, it can distract if not purposely integrated, and it's used across all learning environments with all ages. Hands-on and demonstration, and they involve active participation where learners engage in practical tasks, enhances understanding through direct experiences. And we've talked about this before. Anytime you can have direct experiences, discovery learning, it exponentially, compounds the learning and the retention rate for your learners. It shows how to do something, followed by learner practice. Think of the taxonomies of learning, right? The psychometric taxonomies. It's practical, it's concrete, it reinforces skill-based learning. It is time and material dependent, but you can work through that in your lessons. And for us, teaching biblical truths, sometimes they're a little difficult as we think of what we're doing, but when we try to get real practical, think of prayer. Not everybody knows how to pray. As a matter of fact, I would say nobody knows how to pray. We have to be taught to pray. Every single one of us, the disciples said, Jesus, teach us how to pray. So we can demonstrate even those basic spiritual truths and spiritual disciplines to help our learners grow in Christ. With project-based learning, it focuses on engaging students in real-world projects that enhance their understanding of various subjects. So they complete a multi-step task or project over time. It's to take that learning even deeper, the integration of knowledge into application, a lot of planning, a lot of guidance though. So if you say you have a youth intern and they're just getting into ministry, well, you can help them, you can give them how to plan a mission trip, how to work towards a service, outline this project for us. We're going to do a serve day. Can you organize this? So you're project-based teaching with them. Technology-based learning utilizes digital tools and resources to enhance the learning experience. It promotes engagement, collaboration, personalized learning, and it does so at the learner's speed and pace. It uses digital tools, videos, apps, online platforms. Think of Lifeway just has their new Hi-Fi learning. So you do a lot of different digital stuff with that, right? Completely digital, from the lesson plans to the preparation to the videos to everything for the kids. And so these are various teaching methods that you can use in your lesson preparation. You don't have to pick, just stay on one. I obviously want you to use several of them because we want you to be familiar with them. The more you know, the more tools you have in your toolbox as a teacher, the more effective you're going to be at reaching your different type of learners, whether it be thinkers, feelers, or doers, and you're engaging everyone, not just simply to engage them, but remember, we're engaging them on a level where they can learn, they can understand, they can grow, so that they grow in their knowledge of Jesus Christ. As they grow in their knowledge of Jesus Christ, we want them to grow in the likeness of Jesus Christ, that they would reflect His glory to those around them and be disciples who glorify Jesus. They become lovers and learners of Jesus Christ. God bless.